one meal a day makes awesome sense. Like, I totally get it. I totally get the convenience. I totally get the ease of it. I totally get just the practical idea behind it. We just run into a big problem with it, and I've talked about it a lot, is, you're typically going, well, you almost have to, like 22, 23 hours of fasting, and then you eat one meal, and then you do it again. That's a lot of fasting, and I get it. Like, I understand why you'd want to do that, but after 16 hours, we start to get into pretty serious fasting mechanisms within the body that we don't want to be doing time and time and time again. Like, a 16-hour fast is short enough to justify doing a little bit more frequently, but a 22, 23-hour fast doing over and over again is not so much. You see, what's going to happen eventually is your metabolism can slow down because you're either not consuming enough calories or you're not getting enough just nutrient availability just from the diversity of foods you're consuming. So eventually, if you go that long into a fast and you do it repeatedly, it's just pretty hard on the body. Plus, the gut, right? You cannot handle just this bolus of food coming into your gut after that long of a fast repeatedly. It triggers what's called a PKR response, which is actually an inflammatory response. Rather than just complain about that, let's try to find a reason. So what I came up with is a way to stagger your one meal a day eating structure to where you are doing shorter fasts, but you're staggering when you end your fasts. You see, there's a lot of benefit that comes to breaking a fast at specific times a day. For example, if you break your fast in the morning, well, there's benefits there. If you break your fast in the evening, there's a different set of benefits there. If you break your fast midday, there's different sets of benefits there. So what if we toyed around with the periods in which we are doing one meal a day, but we just had them occur, just your break fast meals at different times of the day? Let me give you an example of what this would look like. Let's just say you started with a 16-hour fast and you started at 9 p.m., just in this case. Normally wouldn't eat a meal that late, but nothing about OMAD is conventional, so what the hey. Okay, 9 p.m. and then 16 hours would be 1 p.m. Let's give yourself a good hour or so to eat, okay? And then start your fast again at 2 p.m. Well, you just had a meal midday, and now you get to fast through dinner, which is a whole different set of benefits. And you go 16 hours again, so now you're gonna go from 2 p.m. or something like that to, in this case, you're going 6 a.m., but I also understand that you may not be getting up early. You can adjust this however you need to. For me, I'm up by 6 a.m. I'm up usually by 5 a.m. working out and usually done with my workout by like 6:30 or 7, right? If you have to stretch it an hour or so, it's not the end of the world, but you're getting the point here. It's not about specific number. It's about trying to stagger the response, right? Stagger the timing. So then I just had the benefit of breaking my fast in the morning, still in a one meal a day fashion. Right? So let's say that was, 6 a.m. Well, guess what? If I finish that meal by 7 a.m., then I can go ahead and do another 16-hour fast. That puts me at, well, in this case, late at night, but this time I may want to shorten it, right? So why don't I just go 7 to 7 in this case? So we're going a 16-hour fast, a 16-hour fast, followed by a 12-hour fast. Then what we do is we take a full day off. Now, you could do 16 hours again if you wanted to. Like, you could go 16, 16, 16, but I would not really recommend that because it's pushing your eating pretty far late at night. I just don't think that you should be eating that late or purposely stay up in an effort to eat. Okay, shorten that fast. What we're doing is we're just spacing our meals apart. So rather than thinking of it as one meal a day, we're thinking of it as just these really long gaps between meals. 16-hour gap, 16-hour gap, 12-hour gap. But for all intents and purposes, as far as our actual clock and calendar is concerned, it's technically one meal a day. And never are you gonna run into eating more than one meal in a single calendar day. So it's still technically one meal a day. But what do you eat on that off day, on the day you're not fasting? Because I recommend you go 16, 16, 12 off. Okay? You want to give your body a chance to reset, but also a chance to restore nutrients, right? One meal a day makes it tough because it's easy to get 2,000 calories in one meal, but it's pretty hard to get the fiber, it's pretty hard to get the diversification of nutrients that you actually need to support bodily functions. That's why I don't typically recommend doing it for a long period of time. But if you have one really good day in the middle, it actually does allow you to restore quite a bit. This is where I would typically recommend, if you're fasting or if you're doing keto or anything like that, I do recommend Thrive Thrive Market just because they make it super easy to just get your hands on the cleaner food. So like if you're trying to go grocery shopping, you don't know what to get, Thrive Market has some of my keto and my fasting bundles there. Things that I choose, things that I would get at the grocery store that I've hand selected through Thrive Market. So that way you can check them out and then they just get delivered to your doorstep. But you can also sort by diet. You can sort by paleo, you can sort by keto, you can sort by vegan, vegetarian, whatever, gluten-free, all different categories. So highly recommend them. That way it just gets delivered to your doorstep, super convenient. They've been a big supporter of this channel for years. So there's a special link just for viewers of my channel down below. Okay, let me give you a little bit of context too, because there's two sides to doing one meal a day. There's people that do one meal a day with carbohydrates and people that do one meal a day without carbohydrates. And there's a big influx of that because the ketogenic diet and the OMAD community are very, very similar in a lot of their goals. Here's what I would recommend and how you structure it. If you are used to having carbohydrates, you should have carbohydrates with your one meal a day, with your one meal. Have carbohydrates. It goes against the grain of what I would normally say, right? I normally wouldn't have fats and carbs combined, yada, yada, but again, nothing about OMAD is conventional, but this strategy will work. Okay, have your carbs with each meal, with your one meal. So day 1, day 2, day 3. That way you're getting a big spike in insulin that's allowing you to maintain muscle anabolism. You're maintaining muscle that way because you're driving an insulin spike really high. Okay. Then on your off day that you are not doing any kind of OMAD, that's when I would recommend you keep your carbs low. You don't have to go full keto, but keep your carbs low and your fats high. A, it gives you a chance to rebuild and get the fats that you may not be getting in on the other days. But B, it's allowing you to keep your insulin levels really low. We want your baseline insulin levels low so that when you do have your one meal a day meals, you do get a big spike in insulin, which makes me sound like a contradictory jerk, but it actually has merit because this is the one time where I would want you to have an insulin spike so that you can actually absorb what you're taking in. I don't want you just having calories for calories' sake. I actually want an insulin spike so it gets into the cell in this case, and then you shut it down and you shut it down quick because you're going right back into another 16 or 12-hour fast. 16, 16, 12, right? And then on the day off, keeping it low so your insulin levels stay low. Then on the contrary, if you are someone that typically follows a low carb or ketogenic diet, you actually want to do the opposite, okay? You want to make it so that on your fasting days, you are doing your one meal a day with protein, fat, and veggies and no carbs. Why? Because I want you to keep your ketone levels high. You're already keto adapted. This means that you're going to get more muscle preservation effect this way, okay? So muscle preservation, driving ketone values up without an insulin spike. Then on your non-fasting day, you have carbs. So you in essence are doing a carb cycling protocol. So those that are used to doing keto get to restore glycogen levels and they get to restore carbohydrates on their off day, on their regular eating 3 meal, 4 meal a day, whatever you do, I don't care. Okay. And then people that typically don't do keto get to keep insulin levels low. So you see how there's benefits to each. This way you're getting a carb cycling effect that keeps you what's called metabolically flexible, allows your body to know how to use both fats and carbs. This really is the goal. We're not trying to be dogmatic with our eating style. We want to be flexible and be really good at everything in life. We want to rock, right? So that's the idea. So let me break it down one more time. 16-hour fast, one meal a day. Another 16-hour fast, one meal a day. Then roughly like a 12-hour fast or whatever you want to do there so that you're not eating at a really weird time. Then a day off. Then repeat 16 hours, 12, day off. 16 hours, 12, day off. Okay? If you're doing keto normally, you have keto meal, keto meal, keto meal with your fasting days, and your non-fasting days are carbs. Carbs and protein, of course. You can still have a little bit of fats coming in. And if you normally don't do keto, then you're going to go carb day, carb day, carb day on your fasting days, and low carb on your non-fasting days. I know that's complex, but rewatch this a few times and write it down, because if you want to do OMAD, this is going to be the best strategy. As always, keep it locked in here on my channel, and I'll see you tomorrow.